Oh man, we need to talk about Cardano. This is a top 5 cryptocurrency altcoin, which is down 73% from all-time high. Many holders are frustrated. Many in the crypto community are starting to lose hope. Am I losing hope on Cardano? Is this a project I'm giving up on? Loads to get into this video. Make sure you smash the likes. Do not forget to subscribe. If you want to trade altcoins, you can do so using BITUNIX, which is supporting the channel. Link is in the description. Now we're going to go through some TA on Cardano. We're going to go through the fundamentals, but first and foremost, we need to discuss what is going on with this project, right? This is a project which, since I've been making videos on it over 4 years ago, has been frustrating people, right? It's always been that type of token which frustrates in terms of its price action. But we have to understand, what is it we're investing into when we invest in Cardano? Now, it's important to remember that Cardano is one of the OG projects, right? After Bitcoin and then you had your Ethereum, there was Cardano there to compete with Ethereum. Charles Hodgkinson famously had worked with Gavin Wood and Vitalik over Ethereum. These are OG founders working on big things. And so I think it's always important to remember that whenever, and I would always mention this in my videos, whenever I'm investing in Cardano, whenever I'm buying the dip on Cardano, whenever I'm adding to my portfolio on Cardano, I'm doing so understanding that it's gonna move slowly, that it's gonna be frustrating, that it's gonna be painful. But I almost treat it like medicine, right? I treat it like medicine, say, you know what? A lot of other things in my portfolio are a little bit crazy, right? Maybe you've got some meme coins. Maybe you've got some layer 2s. Maybe you've got some protocol plays. Maybe you've got some dexes. Maybe you've got, fast moving layer 1 blockchains that break things. Things like Solana, which has had so much downtime, right? Things like Sonic, which is moving fast and trying to be quite aggressive in the market. And I feel peace when I look at my portfolio, and I've said this time and time again, that I have Cardano. I want a project in my portfolio that's institutionally sound, right? It's got peer-reviewed research. They take their time. They're not just going to suddenly wake up one morning and decide, oh, we're launching this. No, they take their time. I mean, even if you look at some of the frustration with Ethereum, a lot of that can be tied back to ETH 2.0, right? And therefore, the lack of activity thereafter. At least with Cardano, you know it's going to be slow, methodical, but they keep plodding on. Their roadmap is very, very clear, right? You can go on their website and you know that, this is, to all intents and purposes, this is what we're working through in terms of with the foundation, and Shelley with the decentralization. Then you had Gogan with the smart contracts, which is of course up and running. And then, the Basho phase of scaling and bringing more people in. This is where we're pretty much at now, right? So Cardano is ready and projects are starting to build. But the challenge for Cardano, outside of course, it moving slowly and frustrating people in terms of his price action, is actually an issue around trying to make sure you attract the best dApps. How many times have we said this here on this channel, that the biggest layer 1 platforms are going to be those that attract the best dApp developers? Simple as that. Right? Simple as that. If you have the best dApp developers building on your platform and they have killer use cases, like people really want to use that dApp, they don't care whether it's on Sonic, they don't care whether it's on Avalanche or Polygon or Cardano. They're going to come and set up a wallet on your blockchain and interact with your blockchain to use that dApp. And this is the aim of the game right now. There's a reason why all of these amazing technically enabled layer 1 blockchains are fighting for the best talent. They're issuing grants, they're trying to incubate, they're trying to give them free office space and help them and give them dev support and HR support and all this kind of stuff, because they understand that is the battleground. That is the main thing right now for a layer 1 to grow. When we look at this, it's important to understand that these are, they have a clear roadmap. And when you look at many other projects which people ape into, I'm not going to mention them here in this video. I mean, they don't have the basics, right? They're not secure. They're very centralized. I mean, you've got platforms which are breaking and having a lot of downtime, failed transactions, and yet people continue to ape into them and they have amazing price action. But it's important to understand that if you want to hold projects for long, projects that allow you to sleep at night, for me, that's the category that Cardano falls into. I don't lose a moment of sleep holding Cardano. Nope, I can comfortably buy the dip, I can comfortably build my bag and know that over time, it's going to take some time and it's going to take multiple years. I mean, already 3-4 years here in terms of boring price action from our all-time high. but it's going to be a good investment. And of course, not financial advice. Please do your own research. This takes a little bit of a longer term investment mindset. The get rich quick crypto bro is not going to get Cardano, and that's okay, right? They're going to go and jump on into another platform. That's cool. We just have to understand that audience is not trading Cardano. That trading volume is not there for Cardano, and therefore it has substandard price action compared to what people are used to. But who cares? And we've seen this in the past, right? Anytime if you study Cardano, and we've done various technical analysis videos on this channel on Cardano, you know that it stalls and then moves, and it stalls and then look at this move. I mean, it has really powerful moves when it does choose to move. And in August of 2021, right? In August of 2021, you hit that high of just shy of $3.10. I think it hit $3.10 on some exchanges. So now we're down 73% from all-time highs on Cardano, which is amazing, right? I mean, a lot of people make YouTube videos on a project when the project's sitting at all-time highs and you're chasing those green candles. Here, we're making a video on a project which I like, which is down 73%. And this is where you're going to get your best risk to reward entries, is when you're doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing. You're talking about projects and investing in projects when others cannot be asked about it. Because guess what? The narrative is going to come back to Cardano. You can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that the narrative will come back to Cardano, because guess what? Layer ones, which move fast and break things, are going to do exactly that. And when the proverbial hits the fan, they suddenly go, uh-oh, I shouldn't have put so much in a project that's, doesn't even have its security down and continues to have downtime. Maybe I need to diversify and have me a bit of Cardano, right? And that cycle is going to continue to go around. So often what you find is that when new people come into crypto, they're jumping onto pump.fun, they're in the trenches, they're taking risks, they lose their money. Then maybe they go, okay, let me look at some bigger altcoins. They might get into Shiba, they might get into Pepe, Floki, all these kind of stuff. But eventually people revert to the more safer place. The more they get burned, the more they try to balance their portfolio. That's when they start looking for things like Cardano. They start investing in Ethereum, getting some Bitcoin instead of chasing those overnight returns. And for that reason, Cardano is always going to be a long-term play. Now, if we jump onto CoinMarketCap, you can see here, of course, Cardano continues to reign strongly, right, in the top 10 here in crypto. Of course, if you take out some of the stable coins, it's pretty much fighting for top 5 in terms of serious altcoin. You've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, Solana, Dogecoin, Cardano. Call it, top 5 to top 7. I'm probably exaggerating there, but it's got the possibility to be in the top 5. I have no doubt for that. And of course, you're going to have these arguments. I can see a day where you're going to see these arguments around Cardano flipping Ethereum, right? You're going to get these kind of narratives happening. And again, just a reminder for those, this was sitting at $93 billion market cap at all-time high, right? And this is going back to 2021. So with the market growing, with adoption growing, with even Cardano as a project growing, the fact that it's not even at that kind of all-time high shows me there's a lot of potential here. Of course, we've not had our altcoin season yet, and when we do have our altcoin season, which I still think is coming up, I expect Cardano to be above $100 billion market cap. Might be a brave call, but as investors, we've got to make calls, right? If we don't have beliefs, if we don't have a theory, if we don't have a thesis, then what are we investing on? Okay, so that's my view on Cardano. From a TA perspective, let me share exactly what I'm seeing here on the weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, you will see there's a very important support / now resistance level here at around that $1.17 mark here on Cardano. So I've set that as my horizontal line. It was a beta support going back into 2021. We then lost it in early 2022. It acted as resistance when we tried to recover quickly, and then again acted as resistance towards the end of last year when we were catching a pump in the crypto market. But what you will notice is a very important, what is known as an Adam and Eve pattern. You can also technically put it as a cup and handle pattern as well. It doesn't really matter. If you've taken my TA course, ijazcrypto.com/TA, you will know that all that matters here is the psychology. We had a rounding bottom. We've shown that these were the levels at the bottom. Congratulations to you, those of you who were buying at that 24 cents mark. We then worked our way back to the neckline at $1.18. We got rejected, and now we're grinding out a higher low than the previous low, right? We're not having to go as low as that 24 level mark again, and now we want to show some strength to get back to this neckline. If we can here, and again, it's going to take time. There's a weekly chart you're looking at. and we can get the breakout. Again, the breakout might well need a bit of a, let me show you, it could just need to keep working its way up here. It may break out, come retest, and then head higher, right? On towards our price target of $2.12 here on Cardano. Again, that's just an intermediate target. I fully expect it to get back to previous all-time high and eclipse that, but even just getting back to this level at $2.12 provides a very nice risk to return when you're buying Cardano at a roughly 80-cent mark at current prices. A few other things to mention here which are very, very important. Of course, you know, from the fundamental side, we've spoken about how safe it is. It's important to mention that Cardano operates on 2 separate layers as well, so that's a unique concept in terms of a layer 1 blockchain, of course, which is proof of stake. So what they're doing is they have the executions on one layer and they have the computation on another layer, which gives it a bit more scalability. So I think that's a unique plus point for Cardano. Of course, the Ouroboros consensus mechanism is unique as well and very energy efficient. That plays into their hand as well. Apart from that, if you look at the tokenomics, I like the tokenomics compared to some of the other crap I've been seeing in the market. 77% circulating supply, fully diluted value is very close to the actual market cap, which is good. So you've not got this massive amount of tokens, you know, to be unlocked and dumped into the market. Yes, there is a little bit, there's 23%, but that's far less than we've seen with many other projects out there, which of course helps the situation in terms of Cardano. A few other things worthy of mention is, of course, Grayscale filed for a Cardano spot ETF, right? Let's not sleep on that fact. Huge partnerships with major banks and institutions across the globe, which you can take a look at on their website. And of course, look at the development, right? Go and look at the development. 1,000, just shy of 2,000 projects building, 1.33 million delegated wallets, 10 million tokens, native tokens on the Cardano ecosystem, 214,000 token policies. I mean, you can look at this, right? They do these weekly updates, which is really good on Essential Cardano. So they're being transparent, right? I remember there was a day when, even when Cardano was at its all-time high, guy, remember $3.10 with no Gogun. There was no smart contracts platform. Now, when you go and look at Cardano, there's an active ecosystem, which is really good, right? You can see there is $500 million in total value locked. This has been as high as 770 million. I mean, just cutting off the screen there, just there, that peak there is 770 million that was locked in the Cardano ecosystem. And you're starting, even though they're not big, you're starting to get some interesting protocols getting some adoption. I mean, on the lending space, you've got Liquid, you've got MinSwap for the DEX, Indigo for a CDP. You've also got Splash Protocol for the DEX as well. You're starting to get some movement here in some of these protocols, but of course, they've got a lot more work to do. The devs have to do a lot more work. The marketing team has to do a lot more work. We've seen that with Sonic as well, another project which we cover here on this channel. Once you get the marketing going, once you get the momentum going, once you start getting the community excited, these protocols really start to grow in adoption, and that helps drive that total value locked up past $1 billion and towards $2 billion. So I really want to see this really start to improve for Cardano. So there you have it, guys. That's my take on Cardano. Am I selling my Cardano? Absolutely not. Is it a huge oversized part of my portfolio? No. When in terms of my portfolio, I have a few bets on the layer 1 space. Cardano is one of them. I want it to be boring. I want it to be safe. I want it to be slow. I don't expect to wake up tomorrow and Cardano be sitting at $3. It's not that type of altcoin. If you're looking for something like that, you need to be looking for something else. This is a project much like how you might want to buy Amazon many 10 years ago, or you might have wanted to buy Microsoft or even Ethereum. I think that's this play here, and that's why I'm holding Cardano as part of the portfolio. If you want to trade Cardano, you can do so using BITUNIX. Links in the description. That is an affiliate link. Helps you get the best fees, gives you some amazing bonuses, and then it supports the channel as well. So check them out. Link will be in the description. Other than that, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you like this breakdown, then comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Cardano, and I'll see you in the next one.